All right. The squirrel just said something.
Yeah, I swear. It's been a trying last 2 weeks, man.
What happened?
So this has been a trying couple weeks in the SML.
Oh man. We online? We live?
Yeah, we are live, man.
All right, man. Welcome to another episode. It seems like we haven't been on the air in a while, but good to be here with my co-host, the often imitated but never duplicated, the commissioner, V101, Leas Monk. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Just, trying to balance, trying to get me some work-life balance going on over here.
Yeah, it's a challenge for all of us. I could tell you. I mean, don't get any work anymore, and just come in to play my games and go home. So it's starting to show. It's starting to show.
It don't take
But
long,
we
man.
got to,
That rust will show real quick on you, boy.
yeah,
Going to,
yeah, people coming at you each week. But
yep, yep.
we got a good show. We got a good show. We're going to talk about the awards preview, kind of look at who's emerging this season, and that's very important now that we know that the XP truck is coming to dump some money on your lawn. So that's good to know. We're talking about other next topic will be scheme stealing, or AKA play jacking, and then we had a suspension yesterday we want to talk about, and then probably if time permits, we'll kind of look at some of these trades that went down before the deadline. A lot of people moving, and some people moving things that they didn't have. So
Oh man.
yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, if you want to go into the awards preview, that would be a good place to start. I saw a lot of Indianapolis Colts there again, so that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, I think that Colts training staff over there, they got something brewing over there, man. I don't know what it is, but they are
Yeah,
producing some products.
well, we do know the Indianapolis Colts have a lot of younger players. They've been committing to the younger philosophy, and so a lot of rookies are playing. We did hear Coach Renegade say that he's got a lot of bum beasts at 60 and 79, but they are clearly progressing at a good rate, so much that there are a lot of mentions of them in the award. So let's take a look at where we're at. You want to start looking at the yearly awards? Is that where we'll start first?
Yeah, why not? Look, I'm sitting on MVP right now.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's
Well,
go for it.
somebody's familiar at the top there. We got Todd Gurley.
Yeah, yeah, we've seen him there before, and wasn't he the MVP last year?
He was the MVP last year.
Yeah, yeah. So he's got a number two by his name, so I guess that means he's going to be MVP again at this rate.
This
Uh,
dude, Lonzo's over here mooching touchdowns with this dude, man. Like you got all these other. From what last time I looked, he was not like the leading leader in yards, but he's got so many touchdowns.
hmm
So,
Yeah, yeah, and he scored a lot of points in his last game, and don't we never really see many NFC West games by design. They kind of feel that
oh,
they need to keep everything confidential out in the NFC West.
I am mistaken.
So,
Todd Gurley is leading the league in rushing. He's almost got 1,000 yards at the halfway mark, and he's got
oh, he
13
does.
touchdowns, which is
hmm
a pretty sizable lead in touchdowns.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I did uh, realize that we kind of talked him up last season, and he needed to be more a part, or at least the focal point of the Rams offense, and it seems like he is, as they are leading that division. So
Hey, Rams look
I think
good.
this will continue. Yeah.
The Rams look good. I
Uh,
didn't expect them to. I expected them to fall back to their customary slow start, but they have been dominating.
The second name on this list, I don't know if you're surprised. Nothing against who it is, but I am surprised at who's number two.
Matt Stafford is having a great season.
He
That's,
is.
he
He
is
is.
having a great season. The last I looked, I know he's leading the league in touchdowns and yards,
Yes.
and he's
Yeah.
only thrown 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yeah, that's a serious ratio. His completion percentage is over 70%. And let me see what his QBR is because, oh, his QBR rating is 128.3. And so this is a, I don't see many Dolphin games either, but clearly Matthew Stafford throwing to Chris Conley and Devontae Parker along with AC Leonard uh, looks like they're right in the running and they're number two. That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
We played him, man. That dude slings it. We were able to get one pick off of him, but he is that dude is reading defenses with the best of them right now and putting that thing out there. So that's
Yeah.
Mariota.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah, the next person, this was, you're probably chuckling for the same reason I'm chuckling. This, this quarterback is here probably from the previous owner. Uh,
Yeah, I don't
he's from the,
expect if you want to talk about buying selling stock, I'm gonna sell this Mariota stock because him and Gurley are both not gonna be up there. One of them dudes, they're canceling each other out.
Yeah, they both can't sustain this, as they say, right? I'd agree with that. This was the old coach's fast-paced, no-huddle offense. I'm pretty sure that's how Marcus made his way up to third on the MVP voting. But this next guy, we know him very well. Melvin Gordon of the San Diego Superchargers is bringing up the fourth, and up until last week, he was leading the league in rushing, and it looks like obviously Gurley took that over. But this guy is progressed into one of the top players, and you kind of need to know what he's doing on those stretch plays that the Chargers are running.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, he was at the time of the power rankings. I know he was up there. I haven't really looked at him as a player, like how he's progressed lately. I've just seen him, playing you guys and breaking these runs, and I'm just like, damn, where did this Melvin
Yeah.
Gordon come from?
Well, he hasn't fumbled, and he's got a 7.1 yard per carry, which is obviously higher than the league average or anything EA would probably be happy with. So he's definitely outperforming uh, the norm, and so he hasn't fumbled once, and that says a lot in over 110 carries. So he's getting it done there. Um,
Dang. Yeah, he's been in the weight room. It looks like a little bit. His truck's up a bit. I haven't seen. Let me see what his Eucharist hallucinogens and all that stuff is.
yeah, he's definitely there, and but this next guy, as you finish looking up Gordon, the next guy you know well. He's in your division, and uh, rounding out the top five, Darian Whitner. What do you know about Darian Whitner on the Carolina Panthers, who we're going to be talking about in depth later on the show?
I'm gonna say. I mean, from what he was when these awards first came out, he was the rookie. I want to say he's a rookie, offensive rookie of the year. Yeah, he's still the offensive rookie of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know anything about. I know he's fast. I know he had some. He's won. I know he won Player of the Week at least one week, but he's gonna have some issues because he's got a little suspension.
Yeah, yeah, this is going to definitely hurt his progression because had he continued, and he probably would have won multiple awards.
Rookie
And
of
we
the
know
year
what
at a
that.
minimum. Yeah, we know that rookie war award is worth some points, but we'll touch on that a little later.
Yeah, yes, we will. It's a tough story, but one that we're going to cover on Chalk Talk because we touch on all topics. So that was the top five for the MVP, and let's go to Coach of the Year. This seems to change from week to week. I noticed that there's a new name at top, and one of my favorite coaches in the league, Chuck Pagano of the Dolphins, quietly getting it done. The, Monk, I kind of the Miami Dolphins to me. I don't know if you ever saw that movie called the Bruce Willis was in it, and he was like this assassin dude, and he was just quietly taking people out. This is uh this is kind of what the Dolphins remind me, and Chuck Pagano is just quietly, at the top of the boards, running away with the AFC East. Um, a very impressive outing by the Dolphins thus far at 6-2, six and
Yeah.
two.
So it's two losses are to the Falcons and the Panthers, but I mean those are very respectable losses. But Pagano is one of those guys who gets the players in his corner, man. Those dudes want to play for him, so and that's what looks the case. I don't know what type of damn quarterback whispering he's got going on with Matt Stafford right now, but they got a lethal combination going on. Like he's not even trying to run. Like they don't even run the ball. I think they're in the bottom five in rushing in the league. They're just out there
No,
slinging it.
no. Yeah, they're definitely not running it. Niall Davis, but they were taking a lot of heat that they traded away all their talent. Traded away Sue and Mario Williams. I don't think is on that team, and I don't know if anybody can name many of the Dolphins, but they're like I said, quiet assassins. Definitely. Oh, The Jackal. That was that movie, The Jackal. I don't know if you ever saw that. Bruce Willis was taking people out with no facial expression. That's
I
kind of how
remember
the Dolphins.
that.
Yeah,
Look,
break in your house and eat your Chinese food and then kill you while you bleed out. That's that's kind of how the Dolphins. And next, and here's who I thought would have been in the first slot is Hugh Jackson of the Cleveland Browns, bringing up number two.
those Browns, man. Look, I hate it because I feel like every time we bring up Smiles, I feel like I gotta say, y'all don't respect Smiles. This guy, man, the last undefeated team. Like he is on a vengeance since missing the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure not happy with that post-marital bliss, but they are undefeated with now I think there's a lot to be said about this because they had the second almost like the third to the last pick in the draft. I know he added some folks late, but he obviously picked 29th or 30th,
You
and has the
can't
Browns undefeated in second too, right?
you can't have a
Second
worse
year, I mean.
team. Yeah, you can't have a worse
Yeah,
team than that squad, man.
yeah,
Take
yeah.
notice.
Yep. Number three, Jeff Fisher of the Los Angeles Rams there, right there. This is, again, a lot better season, better start than last year. So Jeff's got his boys playing at a high level. Um,
If only the real Rams could get them to play at this
yeah,
low.
yeah, yep. Jeff Fisher seems like he's been in the league 22 years in real life, and I don't ever see, besides that Super Bowl with McNair, I don't really see him doing much.
Yeah,
Next is Ron Rivera, the 6-1 Carolina Panthers. Coach is being disciplined. We're going to talk about that, but he's number four. And number five is yours truly, Demetrius Turner, a.k.a. the Monk Man at number five for Coach of the Year.
hey man, we can't. Yeah, I mean, I ain't got to say about Demetrius. He won last year, so I expect them to be down on him this year. I thought he's been doing a pretty good job so far. But hey, it is what it is. Who is not on here though is the Seahawks coach, and I think the Seahawks
Um,
have been doing a bang up job, especially with this win this past week against the Panthers.
yeah, another team that's under the radar. We don't get a lot of television coverage of the Seahawks, but um,
Well, the last two
yeah,
games are out there. I think they beat the
yeah.
Redskins and they beat the Panthers, and those were two games. They look pretty exciting on offense, I will say.
Yeah, a lot of speed it looks like, and they're flinging it around, and looks like their receivers are catching everything.
Doug Baldwin
Let's go to
is
the
up there, but yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to the NFC Offensive Player of the Year. It usually kind of runs in alignment with the MVP, but as you can see here, Gurley, Mariota, Whitner. Oh, Devontae Freeman, number
Mm,
4,
look at
the
Devontae.
Bears. Yeah, you know him well.
I do. Hey, man, I'm glad to see the boy doing well.
And number 5, Doug Martin.
Good job, Doug Martin. I like to
Yeah.
see Doug Martin in there because it always reminds me of that Cooks trade, and I want to see that dude do well.
That Cook straight is going to be one we talk about for a long time. All right, let's go to the Defensive Player of the Year in the NFC. And Chris Harris Jr., who I thought was a Denver Broncos, but there's a Los Angeles Ram logo behind his head.
Chris Harris Jr. was leading the league in interceptions the last time I looked, so that is well
Mm,
deserved.
that explains it, huh? Whoa, and then another Ram, Robert Quinn, right behind him. Oh
These,
boy,
what I
this
will
is
say
looking
is these,
scary.
it is looking scary. These awards are not fully populated yet, though. I don't really
Hmm.
know like how many attempts or like. I seems like I read somewhere that to qualify for some of these awards, you have to have like a minimum threshold of tackles and stuff like that. So while it looks
Hmm.
very scary right now, and I think Chris Harris is probably gonna be the leader in that category, there are probably some players out there that are not being included in this right now.
Okay, so it's still early. I got you. I got
Yeah,
you.
but
All
yeah,
right, Brandon
Brandon Graham's
Brandon
hurt,
Graham. Oh man.
but he
Yeah.
was on a tear. He was the first couple weeks of the season. I want to say the first 4 or 5 weeks he had close to 9 sacks, and he has not
Mm,
gotten. He I think he's. I don't need to look exactly what it is. I know he got hurt, and I want to say he's out for the rest of the season or a good amount of the season. And then, but he's
mm,
still up there just because of his performance when he was able to play.
mm. Yeah, he was. I think he was trying to trade this guy as well. Was he
Oh,
trying
he's
to
not.
trade
I'm
Brandon?
sorry, my mistake. He's not hurt anymore. He was trying to trade him.
Oh,
I know he was hurt at one point. Going into the trade deadline, I want to say he was hurt. But now he is not hurt, but he is. I want to say he's second in the league in sacks, or he was second the last time I looked.
wow. And number 4 and 5, another Saints. The Saints 4 and 4. Cameron Jordan, and bringing up the top 5, another Ram, Maurice Alexander, who I'm not that familiar with, is bringing up the 3 Rams
Oh,
in the
I'm
top
sorry.
5.
Brandon Graham is back in the league leading sacks. Cameron Jordan is second. Graham has 12 sacks. Cameron Jordan has 11.5 sacks.
Wow, these cats are getting after the quarterback. All right, so that explains. So sacks is sort of the major. Seems like a major statistic for some of these
Yeah,
linemen, and the interceptions for defensive backs and linebackers, it seems.
yeah. Chris Harris is in the lead with 7 interceptions.
All right, that is impressive, and a lot of different names from last year. That's what I. It's good to see, and I'm pretty sure they will stay atop. We'll see. And let's go to the Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFC. Uh, Darian Whitner. We spoke about him on the rookie side, and he's obviously the Offensive Rookie of the Year so far on the NFC, and followed by Bubba Green Beckham on the Washington Redskins. Love that name.
I was about to
And we
say you
got a
gotta love that name.
49er sighting. Yeah, that name. Is that a CPU generated name? Bubba
That was
Green?
his. That is his legit name. It was not changed.
Okay. 49er signing number 3, Ricky Seals Jones. Some really great names here.
Who is that?
Uh,
What
I
position does
don't
he
know,
play?
but we gotta look him up. Ricky Seals Jones on
I
the.
bought it. I bought it. Let's learn about
Okay,
Ricky
okay.
Seals Jones. But go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about let's talk about Ricky Seals. Uh, he is number 3 on the defensive. I'm sorry, the offensive rookie of the year list, and then a lot of Beckhams, and now we got Teron Beckham the second, who is a Arizona Cardinal number 4, and we got another Redskin here. We would expect to see a lot of Redskins because they do draft young players. Wesley Langley is number 5. So a lot of names that I'm just not familiar with, and admittedly I'm not in the NFC, but I'm just not familiar with a lot of these guys.
Ricky Seals Jones is a 21-year-old receiving prospect in San Francisco, 6'4", 234 pounds.
Oh,
He
okay.
has he has 88 speed and 90 catching traffic and 88 spectacular catch.
Wow, did he got him in the draft?
I guess so. I guess so. This guy is a
He's
monster.
yeah. Ricky, I think we better find out who Ricky Seals Jones is before we play them,
Keep
because
an eye on Ricky
wonder who's
Seals
this.
Jones. He is 21.
Yeah. So listen. To me, that's the beauty of the draft. That if he was able to pick him, and this guy is obviously making an impact. To me, that's what it's all about. You definitely got some chips to build around there.
Yeah,
That's
especially with the
impressive.
49ers because we know where they were. So to see them have a player like that who they're going to be able to turn into a really talented game changing player, I think is very, very good.
Yeah. All right, and Teron Beckham the second, and Wesley Langley bring it up number 4. All right, let's go to the defensive rookie of the year in the NFC, and I see 2 Redskins at the top. If you could look up Carlos Herron
That is his
and
free
Alfred
safety.
Maya. Oh, you know Carlos Herron? He's a
I
free
know
safety.
him.
Yeah.
Yes. He's a 22-year-old, 6 foot free safety, 76 overall, 90 speed, 75 zone,
Hmm.
87 hit power. He's a solid player, and if he wins that award, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's gonna get the TJ. We're calling it the TJ Green effect.
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
baby TJ Green effect because I hope he's not in the running for more than one award, but Pro Bowl in that award we know is gonna be 30, 40,000.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Who's the other
Uh,
Redskin on there?
Next Redskin is Alfred Miles. Alfred Miles is in the second slot for the 4 and 5 Redskins. Alfred
That is his
Miles.
rookie safety. 81 overall, 87 speed, 85
Safety.
tackle, 91. No, that is a. I'm sorry, that is a linebacker. 87
Wow.
speed, 85 tackle, 91 hit power, 83 block shed.
Wow.
He
Very
is a monster.
impressive. Yeah, these guys are making some good picks, and these guys are making a difference. Next is uh, Ricky Richey Cates on Carolina, and Deion Sanders.
He's
All right, with that
for the Seahawks,
Seattle.
right?
Yeah, and then some guy named Leon Parson on the Atlanta Falcons is number 5. You
He's
know Leon.
nothing. I know Leon. Leon is learning, man. Leon is
He's a
learning.
work in progress.
He is a work in progress. By the end of the season, he may be able to play that position competently, but right now, he's just, he's out there running around.
Mm. I do notice. I don't know if you notice this, but you can't just put these bum guys out in the secondary without good awareness of play recognition. They just don't play as well as somebody with, that does matter.
Yeah, we're letting that boy learn on the job because we feel like we got enough pieces around him that we can't, we're not gonna give up huge shit. But yeah,
Mm.
he ain't quite ready yet.
All right, well, he's in the top 5, so as we know, this is very volatile and it can change. So let's go through these other best positions because you do get XP for these best. Do you get XP for these falling in the top of these best positions?
You get for winning them, you do. So
Hmm.
you're gonna get it for winning any of these awards, and you're gonna get it for play for a Pro Bowl, and you're gonna get it if you lead the league in any significant statistical category.
Okay. All right. So then this matters then. All right. So the best quarterback, we try to go through these quickly in interest of time. We're almost at the halfway point. We got Mariota at number 1 as the best QB in the NFC.
That is not
Aaron
gonna
Rodgers
last.
number 2. Oh, yeah, we did. That's right. We did feel he would succumb to the scheme of the Rams. And next is Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, and Colin Kaepernick to top off the top five.
None of those guys. That's the one thing. If you look at quarterbacks, there aren't really that many young guys up there outside of Mariota who are going to take a big leap by winning an award. So that is I don't know what it is about these young quarterbacks. We don't really have any out there that are burning it up right now.
No, Carson Wentz is number three, so that's him and Dak number four. So that's about as young, and they're in their second year of
Yeah.
SML year. So good point. That's a good point, and I think Gabe might want to listen to that part of the story. Uh, Trying to get your young quarterback to do too much. Next, best running back, Gurley, number one. Adrian Peterson, Darian Whitner, Doug Martin, and Devontae Freeman. Uh, that's pretty consistent with what we saw from the Russians.
Yeah, these guys, these older guys are like, we are not letting these young dudes run up in here and take over these awards. They
No,
got the
you're right. I
un.
don't see any young. You're right. No young guys here either. Good point. Next, best wide receiver. Now this is stunning. Tavon Austin is the top of the wide receiver list.
I don't really know what these
Wow.
voters are on,
Yeah, this is yeah.
but it is. Hey, look, no, I take that back. I take that back. Tavon Austin is third in the league in reception, receiving yards, and he is leading the league in touchdowns.
Wow.
I can say I didn't
Wow.
know that.
I didn't know that either. And this is what happens when these games are blacked out. You can't get credit if nobody sees what you're doing. But
Yeah.
certainly this the looks like the system is capturing the stats accurately. Des Bryant's number two. Doug Baldwin, who you spoke about, is number three. Julio Jones is like stunned that he's number four, and Brandon Cooks is number five.
Good old Brandon Cooks. Yeah, Julio hasn't been scoring a lot of TDs. He's been getting the yards, but we've been trying to
Mm,
develop some guys in the red zone. So he's not. He only has three TDs.
yeah, he's always there when you need him. He's like all state. All right, next. Offensive lineman. I see two Cowboys here, Teron Smith, Zach Martin, Teron Armstead from New Orleans, Trey Turner from Carolina, and TJ Lang. Best defensive lineman, we kind of went over Graham, Cameron Jordan, Robert Quinn, Ryan Kerrigan's a new name, and Fletcher Cox are bringing up the top there. So
The vets.
linebackers in the NFC, Pernell McPhee from Chicago is at the top of the list there. That's a new name. It's good to see a Chicago Bear, and Bears are playing better than last year, 3-5. Believe it or not, right in the mix of things there in the
That
NFC
division is a
North.
mess right now.
Yeah, yes, it is. Alec Ogletree, Cliff Averill, and Alfred Miles, along with Jalen Smith, bringing up the rear. And then lastly, the DBs, Chris Harris Jr., we talked about, Byron Jones from Dallas, Demarius Randall, Patrick Peterson's number four. Surprised we don't hear his name more, and Eric Reed for the 49ers.
Yeah, that Cardinals team, man. That's one of those teams that you look at that record right now, and I feel like that record is not going to hold.
You don't think so, huh?
I'm sorry, man. You can't lose like that. You cannot lose like that and maintain any confidence in your ability to win big games.
That's a good point. All right, let's go to the AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Stafford, we talked about. He's the top of the list, followed by Melvin Gordon and those super San Diego Chargers. Andy Dalton's number three. There's a Cincinnati Bengals sighting. Andy's probably doing some good things at Cincinnati. Don't see many of their games either. Le'Veon Bell's number four, and the Indianapolis Colts have Marquise Conrad, who I couldn't tell you who he is, but he's number 5.
Marquise Conrad. Is that a running back?
Yeah,
He is second in the
Marquise.
AFC in rushing.
Oh,
Um,
that's right, number 11. That's that number 11 guy, or
yeah,
1 or something. Yeah. Yeah, he does run a lot of zone stretches out of the art of the spread offense by the Indianapolis Colts offensive coordinator.
yeah,
Next, go ahead. I'm sorry.
running looks to be a little down. You got people like Le'Veon Bell out here with barely 500 yards, and Lamar Murray with about 440 yards. I don't know what it is about
Yeah,
running.
yeah, he was hurt, and yep, that
Oh,
rushing is
Murray got
down.
hurt.
Yeah, Murray got hurt in
That's right. That's right.
just, just about 4 games. Uh, Defensive Player of the Year in the AFC, Samuel Stablin. Let me say that again. Samuel Stablin is the Defensive Player of the Year in the AFC.
This is
If you heard of
a.
him, raise your hand.
He's got 11 sacks through 8 games. Rookie. Yeah,
11 sacks.
somebody might want to
So,
do something about that there.
is that a linebacker?
He is an end. He's 6'6", 252
Man,
out of Arizona State. Don't let him
man.
win no. Don't let him lead the league in sacks and win this award.
Yeah, that could mean another TJ hit off. Next is Philip Gaines from the Miami Dolphins, along with Rashard Jones. There's a familiar name. What's interesting is, some of these guys are low rated, 70, and Philip Gaines is 76. Rashard Jones is a 92. The Raiders got a Raider sighting here. Defensive player Reggie Nelson's number 4, and Khalil Mack is number 5.
I saw Reggie in there. Um, yeah, the other guy that is in the Jones is leading the AFC in interceptions. Um,
Mm.
so that is that. And then we got my boy Desmond Southworth for the Steelers down there who broke the interception record. Who has not done anything else? Just getting 5 interceptions in one game.
That is funny. Offensive Rookie of the Year, and there's that guy again. We talked about Marquise Conrad. He's in 2 spots now, and you know what that means.
Yeah,
It's
it's early. It's early. I'm convinced somebody's gonna
okay.
shuffle some of these guys around.
Well, a guy I've been talking about, and we got to play against this next guy, Jarrell Beneford. He's the New York Jets running back, and this guy does everything for them. He catches it, he's running it. I'm surprised he's not throwing it the way the quarterback play has been over there in New York. But he's number 2. London Kennedy is number 3 on the 0-8 Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Johnstone, who is the rookie running back that we'll be seeing later tonight on Denver. And number 5 is Jack Downs, who number 5 from the Patriots. So we got a lot
Jack
of losing
Downs.
teams here in the top list. Rookie of the year.
Yeah, Jack Downs is
Jack
not
Downs,
looking too tough right about now.
80. He's like a number 8. He's 80 overall.
Yeah, he was the number one He was the number one quarterback prospect in the draft. Won the Heisman. But
That's
Coach Pedro is having some issues with that offense over there with Jack.
right. Was he the number 1 pick?
He was the number 2 pick, maybe. The
But definitely
Lions
the
had the
top
number 1
quarterback.
pick. Yeah, he's the top quarterback in the draft. He's got a superstar trait. He's already good, but he's just cause there's some issues going on over there with that Patriot offense that we haven't quite been able to put our finger on yet.
No, you're right. And next on the defensive rookie is the defensive rookie. We got that guy Samuel Stablin we talked about. We got War is Ric Flair, number 2,
I, I,
and
I will tell
another.
you that Warriors Ric Flair guy is a hard dude to block. I don't know why.
Yeah,
He's got the
It really
passion.
is.
He's got the passion.
He must have the high motor trait and some great names here. You've got manager J.J. Dillon or Dillion at number 3, and number 4 and is Jacoby Hodge and Gage Dubois at number 5. And again, and next episode we do these as we get closer. I'm going to do a little more homework on these guys. And we can talk about them with a little more some
Conquest, Tully Blanchard. Killing me with these names, man.
manager J.J. Dillion. I hope I'm
Check out
saying
this
that right.
guy. Check out this guy. Second to last for the Steelers.
Oh, this is
B.A. Baracus.
Baracus. Oh my goodness, B.A. Baracus is number 9.
Oh man, these guys in this
And
here league, boy.
Conquest Tilly Blanchard. I mean, these names are just too funny. All right, let me go to the best quarterback, Stafford, Dalton, Blake Bortles, number 3. Wow.
A Jaguar sighting.
Yeah, that is new. Tyrod Taylor's number 4, and Jack Downs is 5, the best quarterback. So yeah, it's
Yeah, this is not even a fully
quarterback.
populated list. There's only 6 in there.
Yeah,
I know
bad
Dalton and
quarterback
Stafford are
play.
up there, but yeah, the quarterback play is not. It's not. Has
Not
not been
good in
very
the
strong.
AFC. AFC not doing well there. Best running back, Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell. There's that Marquise Conrad guy again, number 3. Do a trifecta. Matt Jones, Buffalo Bills, and Latavius Murray bringing up the 5th slot there.
J.J. Nelson out there at receiver in the AFC. That guy's fast.
Yeah, J.J. Nelson has got the best wide receiver, and if he could win this reward with that 96 speed, I believe he has, that could catapult him to a very almost like a Brandon Cooks type guy. And Chris Conley's number 2 here. So these Dolphins are making some movement. Larry Fitzgerald, admittedly, these are probably CPU.
Larry, why is
Uh,
Larry? Tell me, explain to me why Larry is getting so much focus in your offense.
well, because this might be the last year we have Larry. So we want to definitely get some usage out of him because he's already at 84 speed. I'm guessing next season he'll be at 82 if he stays around. So we don't know if we're going to assign him to a contract, but um,
Yeah, I commend Larry for putting in that work with 84 speed, man.
yeah,
That is,
that says a lot. Be up here with these big dogs and T.Y. Hilton and A.J. Green. So we're happy to see a Raider up in anywhere on this list. Next, offensive lineman, Joe Thomas, Kalechi Osemele, Lumapati, Richie Incognito, and Andrew Whitworth. Defensive lineman, there's that Colt again, Samuel Stablin, Carlos Dunlap, Dante Fowler Jr., a Jaguar signing, Aaron Donald, and Geno Atkins.
Aaron Donald, those Titans, boy.
Yeah, it's a tragic
Linebacker.
story.
It is. It is.
Linebacker DeMarcus Ware,
The old
Khalil
man.
Mack. Yeah, they got some. He's bringing. We gotta see what he's doing. DeMarcus Ware is coming off the edge. We saw about 3 sacks in that Giants game against
There were some rumors
Cincinnati.
that Demarcus Ware would be a cap casualty considering what the Broncos cap situation is next year, but is still up there chugging along.
Yeah, yeah, 116 cap penalty, $116 million cap penalty. We'll talk about that. Khalil Mack, Tevin Smith, Miles Jack, and C.J. Mosley. I'm glad to see some of these Jaguars because they had a lot of young talent. So I'm glad to see some of these guys actually starting to appear.
Yeah, they need to make some moves. Those dudes need to
And the best
improve.
DB. Yeah, that's right. Best DB: Rashard Jones, Darrell Revis, Desmond Southward, Stephon Gilmore, and Philip Gaines.
It's like attack of the old men in the AFC,
Yeah, these are, when you see Revis there, that's
hanging
exactly
on by
what
a
you have.
thread.
All right, well, those are the awards, and we know it's early, and we will monitor this very closely because it's an XP truck is coming to your neighborhood. So let's go into the next topic, which was uh, is a is a sensitive topic. It's a topic of scheme stealing or and running the same plays, which we'll kind of talk about together. There was a major uh, news story that came across the airwaves here at SML, ESPN, and about running the same play. In this case, it was the Broncos Giants game, and the running of four plays. And so the Giants coach thought that there was some rule that was broken and went on to the boards and was outraged that these four plays were obviously 35 points later very successful against him. So, what are your thoughts on running the same play? And I guess it'll lead into tournament style versus sim style.
Well, there are a lot of leagues out there that have like lead. One of my hobbies that I have developed recently is reading the rules of other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And upon reading the rules of every other leagues, I have found some of the most hilarious restrictions on what people can and can't do as far as play calling is concerned. I've seen leagues that said that you can't call the same play more than once in a game. You can't call the
Mm-hmm.
formation back to the same formation back to back. And this is sim nowadays. Like the definition of sim nowadays are leagues that say you can't run the same play over and over again. And I don't see anything. I don't. That's not sim. Like you can run what you want to run. I'm gonna run the same play over and over again until you can stop it. Like pretty much that's how I'm gonna do it. And it's not necessarily that there's a money play. I mean, obviously there are plays that are money that are really good plays, but like
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not. It is not sim for me to tell every coach this is how you have to call your plays. I don't. I mean, I know that's what it's associated with now, but that I don't agree with it. I don't believe that is any type of simulation of the real NFL experience. If that is what sim actually means.
Yeah, there are different levels. I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually kind of look at that as I'm researching new ownership. I do kind of see what's going on in other leagues, and I know a league, and they're pretty well become more famous, and they are doing something where they're trying to match the NFL statistics, and if you deviate from those NFL statistics, that is something that they want to monitor and regulate. So if there's a passing percentage or a running percentage, and if things aren't looking right, they start regulating the play calling to make it more aligned with whatever the NFL statistics are, which to me
That's
is
that's
it's a
ridiculous.
it's a bit much. Yeah, it's a bit much. I think what's great about the SML is that we do monitor anything that's known as you know broken from a glitch perspective, and we will, in most cases, every year there's maybe one or two plays that fall into that category
Like you
of
just you completely remove all creativity from a CFM when you say this is how you have to, this you need to
yeah.
stop calling so many runs so you can meet this statistic or this quota or whatever. Like the fact that you got, some owners that are balanced, some owners that love to pass, some owners that love to run is what I think gives this league character, and that's just not something that I'm ever interested in doing is imposing upon an owner like this is what you have to call and this is how many times you have to run. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a regulation nightmare. How do you monitor that? And we got to be watching every game. So,
It's
oh,
ridiculous.
you just ran that. You ran that twice and you shouldn't have. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit much. I think the game, from an EA perspective, has gotten to a place where there's what they've uh, were advertising a counter to everything. And so if there's a counter to everything, that to me levels the playing field because now the abusers, and this is what I call them, when you try to abuse a play just because you think the other person can't stop it, there is a counter that you don't have to do anything elaborate now to defend. And I think as long as you have the tools to stop something, running the same plays is not a issue because there's a counter for everything in this game. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I've
I've yet to
yeah,
see something that can't be stopped.
I have not. I mean, I've seen some annoying tactics, but again, there are ways around them. So I mean, it is what it is.
So let's talk about scheme stealing, aka playjacking. This is now this is not something new to this year and this year's Madden, but is it reasonable? Let me just ask you this. This is sort of a rhetorical question. Is it reasonable to think that you're going to run something that's not going to be emulated or copied by someone else at some point over a 4 to 5 season run?
No, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a couple players about this stuff, and what it comes down to is if you're playing a game, you're running
Mm-hmm.
something, and you're successful with something, somebody is going to adopt that. But the difference I think is, and I think this is the difference that a lot of people are missing out on is like if you see someone run a play and that play works for them, you're not really thinking about why they ran that play, what they ran that play against. You're just thinking, and this is just traditional Madden thinking. If I call this play repeatedly, I'm going to succeed because I'm running this play. And you're not really
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, how someone would counter that play if you're running it. You're not really thinking about what situations you could run, and you're just like, okay, this run is the beast run. I'm gonna call this run, or this run is the beast pass. It must work against everything. I'm gonna call this pass, and that is not the proper thinking. So schemes themselves are not original. If somebody out there is running what you're running, but having an understanding of what you're running and why you're running it and in what situations you're running it in are is what's more important in my opinion. And that's why you see so many people out here running the same stuff, and some of them are running it very effectively and some of them are not running it effectively at all.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that 100%. And the reason I do is because it matters the personnel, the defense, and I know, the whole notion of looking at the tournament players and seeing kind of schemes that they're running and folks trying to incorporate that. I get that. And, this guy's running, pistol bunch and pistol bunch, you can do this and that. And, I think with any scheme, even if you jack somebody's play, you need to master the scheme that there's a difference between taking a play and then having a scheme, which
Yeah.
is kind of what, I wanted, you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, and it's just it's one of those things where you have people that like when I find a play that works, I take it into practice mode, I put it on random defense, and I run it a whole bunch of times to see, okay, well, if they're in this defense, what should be my first read? Or if they're in this defense, what should be my first read? And most people aren't going to give it that level of detail, and that is what it is. That's the way I play Madden. But a lot of people are just like, fuck it, I'm playing my league games. So, um, I mean, that's the level of detail I take it to. So I don't care if anybody steals my stuff because I know that people ain't gonna put the level of detail in it that I do. But it's just the way it is. Some people like to say this is my offense. I don't want anybody running this with me, and if somebody else runs it, I'm changing. and you can do that. But I prefer to be the person who knows every read, every strength, and every weakness of a particular scheme or formation.
Yeah, and that speaks to the if I introduce something, I'm going to know how to stop it as well. That would be foolish
I
for us
shall
to,
know. I
yeah.
shall know.
If you steal it, best believe we will know how to stop it. And I
I
think that,
yeah,
I mean,
yes.
again, especially if it's something that's new and unique to the community. I mean, there's a lot of videos and channels, and everybody's looking for new things as they come across it. And some people engineer some really good things. And so here's the other side of it, which I understand some of the frustration around it. Some folks engineer some really great features, and by virtue of the Twitch uh, social media world that we live in, they feel that this is somehow giving away their trade secrets, and which I think was still happening back in the day. People used to you know tape games back in the day. I don't know if that
I mean, it
wasn't
wasn't the only
online.
the big difference was is I think back then there was maybe what 4 or 5 people broadcasting games,
Hmm.
whereas now it's like 75%
Yeah,
of the league.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if that changes it because I kind of feel like, and I just kind of feel like the same people who were broadcasting stuff back then are the people who
Hmm.
are the most likely candidates to get their stuff to for somebody to adopt what they were running. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. Your stuff is gonna be out there now. They got so many features in here that show other people what you were running. So you can't.
Hmm.
I kind of feel like whereas on the last Maddens I would get a scheme and I would run that same scheme for 5 seasons. I feel like I need to be adding something new, like every week or so, just so that I'm not sitting in the same formation the whole game, so that people are looking at it like, okay, that's what he ran the whole game and won. I mean, I feel like I've got multiple schemes that I can run a whole game and win my average game, but at the same time, I don't want to run the same thing all the time.
Yeah. Well, you won 3 times last season, so clearly you were doing something right. and, and so, what do you say to the folks that feel if you're twitching, then somehow you're not going to be as successful? Because that's the other side of the scheme stealing and running the same plays, right? That if you're twitching, then hey, you're not going to do as well. What do you say
I
to
just
folks
I
that way?
think we talked about this a little bit last week, and I just don't agree. Like if you're twitching, that is going to force you, I think, to know what your reads are more than anything else.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
if somebody knows what you're gonna run, it doesn't matter. Like it's a situation where if you make your reads, they can't cover every route. Something's gonna be open, or you can hot route somebody to make something open. Like it's adjustments regardless. The only difference is that your favorite read is probably not gonna be there, but you should have another one after that
Yeah.
favorite one's gone. Maybe you should
All
have a
right.
second read or a third read. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's the gift and the curse. We realize that all of the footage is out there, but you can use that to your advantage in many
I
ways.
want to
So,
say this. There's a mini game in Madden that a lot of people don't play. Number one, when you twitch, people know what you're gonna run, and I kind of expect a certain defense to counter the stuff that I want to run, so I can plan for that. And number
mhm,
two, there is people can see your last play. So if you run the same, like, and this is something that people should do. It works for me. I get turnovers with this pretty frequently. I'll call the same play over and over again just so the person knows, okay, he's going to call this play again, thinking that one thing is going to be open. And you can hot route dudes to a completely different coverage in that play. And they'll quick pass into something where they think, hey, this should be open if they call that same defense. But no, I'm not in that same defense. This guy's on a different route. Like there's a mind game to be played within people knowing what you're
mhm.
calling. I don't think a lot of people play.
Yeah, I agree. There's a chess match there. We just got a tweet from the audience that said, "Yeah, from an offensive perspective, that shit sucks. From a defensive perspective, talking about Twitch. This comes from Twitter account Lons39. Um, so there's varying degrees of perspective on this, and
Again, man,
um,
if I twitched my last game and you saw me bomb over the top for 200 yards with Julio, the next game I play, I'm expecting that not to be there. So you better believe I'm expecting to see coverages where, okay, we're not going to give him Julio. And in that game, you may see me get another game, a big game with somebody else, or you may see me run the ball more successfully. Like that's part of it. I think that is a good thing. But
oh,
people want to find their cheese and they want to run that shit
mhm.
into the ground and nobody know what the hell is coming, and that is just not the way of the world right now.
No, no, I'll give you a personal example. When played, I played you in the Super Bowl. You came out with a formation that we expected, but you were using a whole set. You had some new play out of play action that was killing me. And it wasn't a matter of, me expecting what you did before because I knew that you would possibly come out with something, but I didn't know what else. And so that worked against me in that case. If, for those that say, oh, you just watch all the film, in that case, that was the chess match. You had something else, and you were making your reads. If you saw me in a cover two, you hit me with the post. If I left the flats open, you were, it was surgical, and I
And
and
to
I
even go
I
further on
appreciate
that, to go further on that, I had looked at, okay, this is the type of stuff I know franchise likes to call. I know in passing situations, franchise likes this little nickel cover two buster shit. And
that.
that pick at the end of the half, that pick at the end of the
Yeah,
half that I threw, you came out and man two under, and I'm like, I ain't seen man two under
yeah,
in
yeah. I
months.
never do that. Yeah,
Never seen
yeah.
anyone call that, but that's the type of stuff you gotta do. Like people, you have to understand that people are watching your Twitch, and they are expecting you to do things, and that you're watching people's Twitches. And I think it adds a dimension that I actually like to the game, but some people don't like it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's great. It's the chess match behind it, and I can appreciate that because when I play somebody and they do something that is contradictory to what I saw in the tape, I got to give them credit for that, and I'm like, all right, that's what's up right there. All right, last we got about a few minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We had a major suspension come down from the league office, from the commissioner's office yesterday last night, actually, I believe. The Carolina Panthers were playing the Seattle Seahawks, and looks like towards the end of the game, and I don't have all the details, but it seemed like that the Seahawks were looking to go in for another score to increase their AXP, and the
This is what happened.
uh,
Rookie successful, big time rookie running back. What's this guy's name? I don't even remember his name now. The Panthers
oh,
rookie running back got hurt. He had a
okay,
dislocated elbow, and it is not like I did not have a real way to value how long he was going to be out, which I'll get into later.
Darian
But
Whitner, Darian
yeah,
Whitner, yeah, that was
Whitner got hurt. The Seahawks were winning. And the Seahawks, and another controversial topic, the Seahawks kind of wanted to rub it in a little bit and ran up the score. There is no rule against running up the score. There is a rule against quitting.
it.
So, to combat this running up the score, the Panthers user decided that he was going to do repeated encroachments. And repeated encroachments will get you kicked for excessive grieving. So he did that, and he got kicked for excessive grieving. Now his response to this is he did not know that you would get kicked for excessive grieving for repeated encroachments, and that he did not do it to save his guy who was injured. And my point to him in this was your intention does not matter. What matters is you caused the game to disconnect, which is a fairly common mechanism that pretty much everyone knows that if you do stuff annoying crap like that, you can get kicked for excessive grieving. And as a result of that, your guy suffered a serious injury. He was up for all these awards and all this XP, And if I don't suspend him too, then your guy, it's like nothing happened. It's like it's gonna create a trend where if you have a guy that gets hurt, you have to balance. Is it worth me missing a game so that I don't lose an injury to this guy? And that's ridiculous. Like, to be fair, you should have to face the consequences of what was going on in your game in a game that was decided. Number one, you should face the consequences because you quit. Number two, you should face the consequences because your dude should have been out 6 to 8 weeks, is what it looks like. So, there was some debate about whether there was an actual rule that says I can suspend a player. At the end of the day, I don't have a rule that covers every scenario, but I know what's right and I know what's fair. And I know objectively, if I don't suspend your player, then that opens up the door for people to say, I don't want my dude to be hurt. I'll take a game suspension. Or if I don't get suspended, that quitting should not be an option. Like, you should not be thinking in your head, how do I get out of this situation? Let me quit this game. Like, that is not something that I want any precedent set ever. So that is why, and to take care of this, this was unique outside of the fact that it was a quit because number one, I've never experienced a situation where there was a quitter in my division. Number two, I've never seen a situation where there was a quitter, somebody who quit in my division who was playing me the next week. So usually, if you quit, it is you suspend it for the next game. Period. In the story. But I had to do it differently this time because I didn't want it to be a situation where I said you're quit next game. I'm suspending your dude in the story, and then it comes out that he's supposed to play you next week. This affects your divisional race, so that is why I didn't say anything about it. I just found a committee of veterans, none of which who were contesting this running back for any awards, none of which were in the division with the Panthers, and I said this is what happened. This is what the Panthers said. Why they did it. What do you guys think we should do? And that's what they came up with. So
Yeah, I mean, luckily we saw it. There was a tape of this. I did see some of it myself, and it's unfortunate. The Panthers are right there in contention for the division. So, so let me understand this. So they missed the game against the Falcons. Is that what happens? They will not
they will.
play.
Well, I mean, that's kind of still up in the air. Like, the committee is still debating whether it should be that game or whether it should be a later game, and I don't think that issue is fully resolved yet because there were some
Mm-hmm.
members on the committee who were like, um, "Well, we don't think it's fair to other people in the division that you would get a sim win against the Panthers." And I was like, "I don't care what you guys do. Like, I don't care what game he misses. Ultimately, he has to miss a game. Like, that is the only
Yeah,
thing. That is a rule that has been in place from day one. We do
yeah,
not
yeah,
want to
yeah,
encourage quitting." So, um,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what game he will miss, how we will decide that. That is something we're still working out. But at the end of the day, like, encroaching repeatedly is a bonehead 12-year-old online rank game move.
Yeah,
And that is
yeah.
not something that anybody should ever do. And there's just no
No,
other way to put it.
no, the irony here, and this is the irony here is I believe that the that the Carolina Panthers were running up the score against the older 49er coach, if I
You
recall.
remember that. You remember that, right? You
I
remember
do
that?
remember that. I do remember that, and
And what
that's
did
the irony.
what did the 49ers coach do? He finished the game and he complained about
Hmm.
it in the forum.
Yes, he
And
did.
period,
He
new
did.
owner. And we're talking about two vets here. Both of these guys have been in the league since season
Yeah,
1 or 2 probably. And
yeah,
you repeatedly encroach because somebody's running up the score against you after you've done it to a newbie. Really?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
So I listen. I understand the pain, and I feel it when a guy is trying to get that extra XP on you, and I know I've been on the other side of those, and it's not fun. So I understand the perspective that Carolina was probably in, and
It's one
so
of two things. Either one, you're fine with running up against the score against people, but you don't like when that shit happens to you. Or two, you did
that's
it
right.
because, or
Yeah,
two, you did it because your dude got hurt and you didn't want to lose him. And neither one of those
yeah.
is acceptable.
I think historically, and the last point on this was there was a case, and I believe it was last Madden, where a player was suspended and I can't remember who. Maybe it was a quarterback for something similar like this. So there was a precedent set for this. I forget the scenario, but there was a
I have
quarterback that.
suspended. I don't remember. I know I suspended. I know I suspended. I don't remember. I know I've suspended players before. I've suspended a lineman at least once. Um, I suspended. I had to suspend that player. But it was Barcavius Mingo I had to suspend because Squirrel Bird traded for him even after I told him the damn trade wasn't. I told him the trade was no good. And this ass
uh,
trades for him anyway and plays him like 3 or 4 games before I even realized that he had done shit. So I had to suspend
yeah,
him and tell him like this guy could never play on your team again. like, and
yeah.
Jay, I mean, and look, Jay Miles is a good dude, but in Jay Miles' defense, he's like, there's no rule that says you can suspend players. I'm like, well, I don't have a rule for everything. Like, if somebody decides, if somebody's playing a Super Bowl game and it's seven
Mhm,
seven, if I'm playing in the Super Bowl, I'm playing you. It's 7-7
mhm,
and Julio Jones breaks his neck and I quit.
mhm,
There's no rule that says what's supposed to happen there. But what is the
mhm.
fear thing? You win the fucking Super Bowl. Like it I mean, I'm
Yeah,
about being fair. Like it's not fair that your dude was out for 8 weeks and you quit and this dude's gonna
mhm.
come back and still try to fight for all this XP like that shit never happened. Like that's just not fair. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it is. His quitting is dealt with swift and very stringent. So I agree. We can't have any tolerance for that. I do understand the frustration probably he was feeling, but he's a veteran, so you're 100% correct there. So I think as to should he play in the next game, and I know his I was just looking at his next few games. They play Atlanta, then he plays Buffalo. Um, Maybe as to not impact the division, but I guess the AFC East would probably be unhappy that that win would come
I
their
mean,
way.
somebody's not gonna be happy about it. But like I said, I'm not making the decision about what game he's getting suspended for because I don't care. I would love to
And
play
then
him.
there's yeah, and the Patriots are on their schedule, and the Patriots don't have a win, so maybe that's a game that he can sit
Hey,
out.
the
Yeah,
Patriots might
maybe
the Patriots might be mad about that because they don't
that.
make I want no wins. You might
Yeah,
want to
that's
keep
I didn't
that
think
pick.
of that. That's right. I didn't think of it that way. That's true. That's true.
I'm
Good
just
point.
saying
Good
somebody's not gonna be happy.
point. Good point. So he may want to, not that we would indicate that he's tanking or anything, but certainly
I mean, I don't think he's
never want
tanking,
people
but
to
at the
think
same time, when you're in that, like, it's not really about taking or not taking. It's about I'm already here, so
that. Let's not mess that up, right?
let's
Let's
not
not
mess
mess
where
that
I am.
up. I ain't got nothing to do with this, so leave
Exactly.
me out of it, right?
Let me just
All
keep
right.
what
Well,
I got going.
I'm sure the committee will come up with a good recommendation
Yeah, this
of.
committee is a pretty good committee. It's actually a good mix of players. It's actually a 5-person committee because I wanted to involve as many people as I could. And
Mm,
I mean they've been really good about it. And the one thing I would say is that, and I think this committee reflects like what will happen in the league in the future if something like this happens, is there's no tolerance for this, meaning that like he ended up being suspended for 4 games. I can tell you people wanted that player suspended for longer than 4 games. And
wow.
and
Wow.
4 out of 5 of these guys, I mean, obviously 4 out of 5 of these guys were like, this guy's, I mean, yeah, the players, the owner should be suspended, but everybody was like, four
Mm,
games is not enough time to suspend the guy for what happened.
mm,
So just to let you guys know, um,
mm,
this is not quitting a game to avoid an injury with it, especially with it being twitched and knowing what the injury is not something that is going to be tolerated.
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's definitely it is a problem, but dealt with well, and I'm glad the league is keeping there's the I word, integrity, and making sure that we
Hey,
Maybe a
people get
toe
hurt,
or
man.
something.
Little Tevin missed 4 games this year, and I wasn't happy about that shit. But
Yeah.
I didn't quit the game,
No, no.
and Tevin could
All
use
right.
that XP.
Yeah, and you lose, and that's why I said it. You're right. It's going to affect the awards, and so he's. This is this is the lesson learned, and again, Miles, a good guy, and killing you, I'm pretty sure is you know, not happy because he lost the stats for that game as
Oh
well, and
yeah,
now
he had some, and that's the other part of it. Like outside of just the what Jay Miles was trying to save, like Gillen had some guys who had some nice performances who would have had some XP that he's not gonna get now because of that. Like who knows what he's gonna get out of this sim.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we'll follow this story closely over the Thanksgiving break. I want to wish you and your family and all your loved ones and all those close to you a happy Thanksgiving as we're going to go to break after tonight. And have
Broncos
a
Raiders.
yeah. Should be in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, and we'll try to get some turkey after that if we can get past those Broncos.
Good deal, man. Good luck. As
All right, man.
always, it is a pleasure. We'll catch you next week.
All right.
All right.